It's the Book Club for Kids.
Book Club for Kids.
It's the Book Club for Kids podcast.
Hi, I'm Kitty Felde. This week, we travel back in time, an ocean away.
We are in France, 1942. The Nazis are controlling France.
That's one of our readers from Jefferson Academy in Washington, D.C. The book is The Bicycle Spy, and it tells the tale of a very brave boy, the son of bakers, who uses his wits and some gingerbread to trick the Nazis.
Here, take it. It's really good. The soldier looked down suspiciously, but he broke off a piece of the moist, spicy cake and ate it. Though he did not actually smile, his expression softened.
That's our celebrity reader, Gwen Deglise Moore, who's been knighted by the French government for her work with the film organization American Cinematheque. Our writer, Yona Zeldis McDonough, answers questions from our readers and shares how she does her research.
You start with Google, go to a few websites, took out a couple of books from the library, bought a couple of books.
This is the Book Club for Kids, the show where kids talk about books. We'll tell you how you can be on the show a little later on, but first, let's meet our readers.
Hello, my name is Amila.
Hello, my name is Kendall.
Hello, my name is Nathan, and we are all sixth graders at Jefferson Academy in Washington, D.C.
So the book is The Bicycle Spy. What is it about?
It's about a boy who finds something out about his parents, and he tries to figure out what their parents are doing and if they're with the resistance.
Maybe we should take 2 steps back. Where are we? What time period are we talking about?
We are in France, 1942. The Nazis are controlling France.
Marcel is a boy who likes to ride his bike, and Delphine is a girl who also likes to ride her bike and find clues and find information about their parents.
Marcel finds out that his parents are part of the resistance on accident.
The way he finds out that his parents are with the resistance is his father asks him to bring a loaf of bread to his aunt and uncle's house, and he gets hungry and he takes a slice and sees the note. He reads it, and he reads it 1, 2, 3 times and figures out he might be a secret code.
Well, let's hear a bit from the book, where our bicycle spy is on his way to deliver loaves of bread to his aunt and uncle. The basket also contains a lovely piece of gingerbread that might just tempt a Nazi soldier. Our celebrity reader is Gwen Deglise Moore, who has been awarded the Knighthood of Arts and Literature by the French government for her work at American Cinematheque.
I'm on my way to visit my aunt and uncle, to bring them some bread. His heart banged hard in his chest, but he tried to look nonchalant as he gestured to a white parcel. "And what's that?" The soldier pointed to the red and white checked parcel. "Pain d'épices." He lifted it out of the basket and peeled back the towel. The pain d'épices, just baked that morning and smelling of cinnamon, ginger, and cloves, was very tempting. Marcel's mouth watered, but he remembered what his father had said and held the cake up. "Here, take it. It's really good." The soldier looked down suspiciously, but he broke off a piece of the moist, spicy cake and ate it. Though he did not actually smile, his expression softened. "You can go." He took another larger piece and put it in his mouth. Marcel got back on his bicycle and sped along as fast as he could, away from the bridge. As he pedaled, he felt himself calming down, but his stomach rumbled and grumbled. There had been no bread at lunch, and he was still hungry. But the loaves of bread were still inside the basket, and his mother had only said not to give the bread to the soldiers. She didn't say he couldn't have a piece. He brought the bicycle to a stop, hopped off, and untied the white cloth. Inside, the 2 round loaves looked fresh and delicious. The dark, chewy peasant breads were one of the specialties of the bakery. Marcel couldn't help himself. He had to have a big piece right now. Aunt Marie-Pierre wouldn't mind. She always fussed over him when he went to visit. Marcel sat down by the side of the road, and using the little penknife his father had given him for his last birthday, he began to cut through the bread. He ate the first piece quickly and was still hungry, so he tried to cut another piece. But this time he was having trouble. The knife wasn't cutting. It seems to be caught on something. He peered closely at the bread and wriggled the knife around. It looked like it was stuck on a piece of paper, tightly folded and wadded up. What was paper doing in there? Marcel extracted it and unfolded it. It was a note, and he recognized his father's bold, quick handwriting on the page. The Saint-Sulpice Bridge has gotten very crowded with visitors from all over. Need to change plans for a picnic and find another spot. Marcel read this once, twice, and then a third time. Picnics? Bridges? What could it mean? The Saint-Sulpice Bridge was where he'd been stopped by the soldier. Could the message have something to do with that? But even if they were so, why hide a message about a picnic and a loaf of bread? Unless maybe it was a code of some kind. He read it yet again. It did seem like a coded message. Marcel pondered this. Who used codes? Secret groups who didn't want their communication to be easily understood? The resistance the French freedom fighters secretly pledged to resist the Germans was such a group. He knew about them from kids at school and from conversation he heard among the grown-ups. He'd seen some of their leaflets, too, pass swiftly and quietly from hand to hand. Could his parents have something to do with all that? Suddenly he wasn't hungry anymore.
Delphine is a brave, caring, talented girl. She knows how to keep secrets. She's trustworthy, she's friendly, she's also very brave.
Well, talk about her situation. What makes her have to be brave?
Her mom and dad and the family, how they had to move out of their hometown and try to hide their cover from the Nazis, because the Nazis are after them and trying to hurt them.
Her family is Jewish, and the Nazis do not like Jewish families. They send them to camps in different places in Europe.
Not summer camps.
No, not summer camp, like working camps and death camps.
Marcel has a dream to ride in the Tour de France. Tell us about the Tour de France.
The Tour de France is a very famous bike race, and there are 18 stages in 18 days, and you bike 5,000 kilometers in 18 days. It's crazy.
Are any of you guys cycling fans? Are you a cyclist yourself? Do you ride bikes? Do you like to race bikes?
After school, I normally race my sister when we ride our bikes. Most of the times it depends on the weather and how I'm feeling, if I'm feeling lazy or tired or happy.
When I'm at my grandmother's house, I'd ride bikes with my best friend, and we would always race from the inner circle up to the park and back. It would be not only fun, but also very entertaining and exercise.
Let's talk a bit about the tough topic in here, which is anti-Semitism, why people are so angry or prejudiced against people who are Jewish. Is that something you guys were aware of before reading the book?
I just knew a lot about World War II, and that was a big part about it, so yeah.
Why do you think that we, as human beings, pick on another group? Maybe because of their religion, the color of their skin, because they're disabled, because they don't look like us, because they're not cool, because they're wearing the wrong shoes. Why do we do that as human beings?
Because some people think that they're better than others when everybody should be treated equally, but other people think that they should be treated the way they were treated back then.
I think it's because of some problems they're going through at home, or they just want to be popular or get all the fame, because they think if they make fun of people, they can get popular and fame, and other people who makes fun of kids will make a group and keep doing it. We stick up for each other. We don't walk away from the situation, because that'll be very disrespectful and very unkind. You need to stick up for others or tell a trusted adult that you know that can handle the situation.
Well, suppose you guys lived in that little village in France during the Second World War. Would you be brave enough to do what Marcel did, become part of the resistance?
I would not be brave enough because even though I can keep a secret and I'm pretty sneaky, I wouldn't be able to work in the resistance because I don't got the brains to work in the resistance.
I mean, considering how nervous I am just doing this, I don't think I could lie to someone straight to the face about something much bigger than this. So probably not.
Does this book remind you of anything else you've read?
I've read another World War II book that talked about how Japanese Americans were mistreated in the USA. It's called This Light Between Us.
Do you guys like books about things that took place long before you were born?
Yes, I love history books. I love war books because when I grow up, I really want to be a teacher so I can teach those things and teach students about wars and history that they should know about.
There's not really any books I've read that are history, but I love going to history museums and learning about African American past or other past from Jewish people.
Do you guys have some questions for our writer, Yona Zeldis McDonough?
How long did it take you to write the book?
I had to write it rather quickly, a few months. I'm not sure exactly how many. And then writing is always rewriting because it was edited and then I had to respond to the edits. And then, there were several drafts, at least 3 that I can think of.
What inspired you to create this book?
Actually, I was not inspired to write the book. I was given a very short, sketchy description by Scholastic, the publisher, saying, we want a book about this and this, and you can write us a couple of chapters and a synopsis, a fuller synopsis, and if we like it, we'll hire you to write it. And my agent at the time said, don't do this. You don't need to do this. You don't get paid, and if they don't want it. But I liked what they said. I liked the subject, and I thought, I'm going to do it. I'm going to give it a try. And I did, and they did, and I wrote it.
How did you find all these important facts and details about the wars and the resistance?
Oh, well, I am a Francophile to start with. So it was there were lots of things I could draw on. I've been to France several times in my life. My editor at one point said to me, I know you like the food and everything, but you got to dial that back. Not so much about food. So I had to control myself there. But I loved reading about France, looking at France. I wish I had gone to France again for a research trip, but I couldn't. So that was very easy to do. Very easy to do. Probably like they do their research. You start with Google, go to a few websites, took out a couple of books from the library, bought a couple of books. I had a general understanding already of how this worked. So I was not entirely in the dark. But I did want to get facts straight and years straight. And for instance, I researched what typical escape routes would have been. And I was able to find maps through the Pyrenees and, into Spain. So that was as accurate as I could get it.
What made you choose these characters and their personalities and their traits?
Well, again, Scholastic had the main character kind of, at least they said there was a boy and this is what he did. And I was thinking about him and he did a very brave and courageous thing, which I don't think I could have done. But it seemed to me more relatable and realistic to make him he's not the biggest, he's not the smartest, he's not the fastest, any of those things. And yet he has a good heart and good intentions and he really wants to be there for the person he says he's going to be there for. I guess I wanted him to be realistic in that he has so many good qualities, but he's not perfect. And that's how most of us are. We have our strengths, we have our weaknesses. And maybe it's even more fun to read how kind of the underdog rises up and he's more courageous than even he thinks he can be. He doesn't really know that he can do that. And yet he finds out that he can. I'm a big one on character and how character shapes plot. In my mind, I had him doing it in stages. First he discovers that his parents are in the resistance, that she doesn't know. And he realizes that now he's been made a part of this. And, those kind of little baby steps to what he's doing and his involvement. And then there's an actual person, this girl, Delphine, that he really likes and admires. And he finds out she's in trouble. So that, he's already kind of on that path because of his parents. And now he's motivated to go even a little further because she's really not safe.
This book deals with really tough topics. I mean, Second World War isn't exactly a walk in the park. Things are hard for these people. Did you enjoy reading this book? Oh, a lot of nodding heads.
Yes.
I really enjoyed this book because I liked how it taught us important information and it was really interesting and important topics.
I like the book because it's a good mix between history and also fiction.
I enjoyed this book because it not only explains some things about the World War II, but it is also a mystery detective book, which is some type of genre that I really enjoy.
All right, now we come to the part of the show where we ask the hardest question on planet Earth, and that is, what is your favorite book or book series, and why?
My favorite book series is Heartstopper because it's an LGBTQ series, and it's not only a book, but it's also a show that you can watch on Netflix, and it tells you a lot about LGBTQ and figuring yourself out if you don't already know. And there are two main characters, Nick and Charlie. They start dating, but Nick doesn't know if he's either gay or straight or bisexual. I like it because I kind of relate a little bit, because I don't know what my sexuality is. I just really enjoy LGBTQ type books.
I would say my favorite book that I have read throughout my entire life is The Bicycle Spy because it's really interesting and it has important details and facts about the past and things I never would know or think of.
My favorite book is The Slight Between Us. I just like how it's two different characters that are across the world but are kind of in the same situation.
I'm really in love with dogs, so I would say dog breeds and what their names are and what type of dog breed they look like and how aggressive are they, how friendly are they. I found a stray dog and I really liked it.
What about you, Yona Zeldis McDonough? You got a couple of favorite books?
When I was young, I used to read and reread the same books, something I don't do anymore. And there was a particular joy to that, like old friends, encountering them again. And, you kids you can't relate to this, but there wasn't television 24/7. So if you're homesick from school or something, there was some children's programming in the morning and then forget it. There were soap operas. Even then I couldn't stand them. I didn't like them. So there wasn't anything to watch on TV. So you were left reading. A Little Princess, Anne of Green Gables, A Tree Grows in Brooklyn, and then one that is less well-known called Understood Betsy by Dorothy Canfield Fisher. And what they had in common is they were set in the past, which I liked even then, and they featured, in a way you could even say characters like the character in this book who were imperfect, but who tried hard. Scrappy girls with courage and grit and tried to do the right thing and tried to, came into themselves in the course of the book. And I liked reading about those girls. I did.
A Tree Grows in Brooklyn is a Book Club for Kids episode, and we will have a link in the show notes and at the website, bookclubforkids.org. Well, what about you, Gwen Deglise Moore? What is your favorite book?
So my favorite book is a French book. I'll say the title in French first. Le Géant de Zeralda, The Giant of Zeralda, from Tommy Ungerer. Tommy Ungerer is a children's writer from France. He wrote over 40 books. He's very famous in France. He even have a museum in Strasbourg. And I think I was read that book by my stepmom maybe when I was 6 or 7, and again and again and again and again. And then I offered it to my daughter and we read it again and again and again. It's the story of a little girl that may not be that little, but live in a farm, is a farmer with her father. not too far from her, but unknown of her, lives a giant that eats children. And he's terrorizing the town, and the schools are closed, and everyone is afraid. And there's no more children in the streets, and the giant is very hungry. And he's going to encounter Zeralda, who is that little girl who is the farmer, but is an amazing cook. And she's going to cook him a feast, and she's going to transform the giants, and she's going to transform all the giants of the neighborhood into gourmet foodies.
We'll have a list of everybody's favorite book at our website, bookclubforkids.org, on our Books We Love page. And you can be on a future Book Club for Kids podcast, too. Just have your teacher, parent, or librarian send us an email to kitty@bookclubforkids.org, and we will send you all the information. Thanks this week to producer Chad Francis. Brandon Baker composed our theme with additional music from Andrew Walton. Emma Steinkellner designed our logo. Thanks to our writer, Yona Zeldis McDonough, and our celebrity reader, Gwen Deglise Moore. And thanks to our readers this week, Amila, Kendall, and Nathan, and their teacher, Brittany Locker from Jefferson Academy in Washington, D.C. We have a free newsletter for teachers, parents, and librarians full of free tips about how to turn kids into lifelong readers. You can sign up at the website, bookclubforkids.org. And if you're going to the American Library Association conference in San Diego in June, please send me a message. I'll be collecting reading tips from the experts, that means you librarians, about how to get a kid to pick up a book and turn into a book lover. I'd love to talk to you. And stop by the IBPA booth. I will be there signing free copies of my Fina Mendoza Mysteries books. This episode was supported in part by the Capitol Hill Community Foundation, building a stronger and more caring community where families can flourish and every resident can share in a better future. Thank you. I'm Kitty Felde. Thanks so much for listening.